Anthony Robbins is the Vice President of the Art Deco Society of New York. He leads walking tours and teaches at Columbia and NYU. His latest book has just won the New York City Book Award. It is New York Art Deco, A Guide to Gotham's Jazz Age Architecture. Anthony, New York's Art Deco skyscrapers can be considered as the most visible and important contribution of America to the history of architectures in 20s and 30s. While it was really based on European artistic development, it really came to be totally original. How do you describe the innovation of Art Deco architecture in New York?
The Art Deco, as it evolved in this city, evolved in skyscrapers. There were no skyscrapers in France or Germany in the 1920s or 30s. The Art Deco there was limited to small buildings because that's what was being built.
There is a certain glamour and allure for New Yorkers to be living and working in Art Deco skyscrapers. Still, what is it about the Art Deco skyscrapers that has still captured the imagination and love of so many New Yorkers?
The Deco buildings speak to us. They're colorful, they're geometric, they're interesting, they're dramatic.
And inside?
And inside is the same. The lobbies of those buildings.
High ceilings, beautiful lobbies.
Absolutely.
Glamour, grand.
And so a lot of the Art Deco skyscrapers are being converted, even as we speak, into residential apartment buildings because people want to live, because they are so attractive.
Your book provides 15 different itineraries for walking tours in New York. And my favorite avenue is Central Park West. I really think this is New York's best avenue architecturally. How would you recommend a tour for me?
I would start at 62nd Street and walk straight up to 92nd Street. That's a mile and a half of remarkable buildings. Most of them are not Art Deco. They're earlier. Art Deco came towards the end of its development, but there's so much color in them. But Central Park West is the residential skyline. If you stand in Central Park and look, you see the towers rising over the trees, and that's part of why it is such a remarkable avenue.
And what's your favorite building on Central Park West?
Oh, that's an impossible question. There are too many. Well, I like 55 Central Park West. It's on 66th Street. It's the building that was featured in the movie The Ghostbusters, if anyone remembers that movie. And the color starts out darker at the bottom in several different shades and then gradually gets lighter as it rises. It's sort of like the vertical windows. It brings our eye up. And it's just remarkable to watch. And it's a small building compared to the Century, but it's very interesting.
Could you comment on destroyed Art Deco skyscrapers?
We've actually been very lucky. First of all, it's very rare to tear down a skyscraper. It's just too difficult. It has happened. There was, in the mid-'70s, when New York was going through its enormous fiscal crisis, the Chrysler Building was 60% vacant, and there was talk of tearing it down. It's impossible to imagine today. So we've lost some things, but most of it survives, which is why it's such a big part of New York's look.
Yes, it definitely is. And I want to tell you, your book is going to serve as my Bible. It is, really. I'm going to put it in my bag, walking in New York, and this is how I'm going to be able to identify all these beautiful buildings. And thanks for being here with us.
Well, thank you. It was a pleasure.